Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Talk podcast. We're here today with a little comfy vibe. Today on the East Coast, it was a bit warm today, but like really nice, like a nice warm. It was a high of like 80 degrees. You can definitely tell that like summer's on the way because the weather has been super nice, but over here, it gets like gross, humid warm. Where like you're outside, but like you come back in and you feel just like super sweaty, super gross, super like I can't wait to jump in the shower tonight. But I just really wanted to sit here and record this podcast. I actually almost forgot it was Sunday because I worked yesterday, which I don't typically work Saturdays, or I haven't been working Saturdays. And I worked yesterday, but it's Memorial Day weekend, so I'm off on Monday. The daycare's closed on Monday type of situation. So I keep thinking today is Saturday and tomorrow's Sunday, since JJ and I will both be home. It's throwing me off a little bit, but luckily I remembered, and here we are sitting and recording, but I feel super gross. And I can't wait to shower. I also, I feel like the Sundays I sit and record this, one day I'll get better. One day will really be like oh my God, you recorded early. Wow, you caught back up on everything. Right now is not that time, but I've always been sitting here to record like right after I put JJ to bed. So I always feel like guilty because I'm like, oh, he just fell asleep. Or you just fell asleep, let me sit here and talk and I feel like I'm like super loud because it's nighttime, it's quiet. Like I feel like between him and like my neighbors in this apartment building are like, why is she sitting there talking to herself? So I always feel like I want to talk kind of quiet, but obviously like I don't want to be super quiet because I want you guys to like hear this episode pretty well, you know what I'm saying? But I also feel bad because I obviously don't want to wake him up considering I just put him to bed. Funny story about putting him to bed though. Yesterday I put him to bed last night and he laid down. He was fine. He's been in like a truck phase. I have a toddler truck phase little boy going on, and he always brings like, he has these little Mickey and Donald cars that go along with like this little track toy that he has. Sorry, I thought I heard fireworks. And I don't know if the camera will pick it up or not, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, he has little Minnie and Donald that go along with like another toy, but he'll just walk around with like the cars themselves. And then like a couple toy like car trucks that he has. And he takes a few and he puts them in his crib when he goes to bed at night. And he has like a couple cars that make like siren sounds. Like he has a helicopter, he has a little police like cruiser thing my brother got him for Christmas. He like loves sirens. He like likes cop cars and like fire trucks and all that when he sees them on the road, or not necessarily that they have to have the sirens on, but if he just sees them, he calls them woo-woos because of the sound that they make. He doesn't say like cop car or fire truck, he just goes woo-woo. So he has like those in his crib, and it's kind of nice because in the morning I feel like it's been, I don't want to say distracting him, but instead of him like waking up and like crying for either Julian and I to go and get him and get him out of the crib and like wake up with him and everything, he'll just sit there and like kind of play with his cars. So it's like kind of nice for us because we get a little sleep in moment, which granted every time I wake up and I realize like he's probably been sitting there for a little bit, I do feel bad because part of me is like, oh, he definitely needs a diaper change. He probably wants some breakfast, some juice or water or something. From obviously like you get a little dehydrated through the night, not drinking anything. But like this morning I woke up at like almost 10 o'clock because I guess I just needed like the rest and the sleep. And I woke up and I was like, wow, like I think about it and I'm like, I wonder how long you've been sitting there for. Like, do you wake up at 7? Do you wake up at 8? Do you wake up at 9? Like, I don't know. But anyway, that wasn't the story I was going to say. Yesterday, I put him to bed, and normally I put him down. We put on a humidifier for him because he's been getting, like, bloody noses. Or he was getting... No, we got the humidifier back when... last year. He got really sick, had a really bad cough, and we figured he just needed a humidifier. He started getting, like, really bad bloody noses, and I don't know if that's, like, common for, like, a 2-year-old. I'm gonna have to look it up because he got another one tonight before going to bed, and I don't know, like, what's causing them or why he's been getting them so often, but we've been putting a humidifier on for him, laying him down, and he has this little elephant that, like, you kind of crank, and it plays, like, a tune, and it plays the tune of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So I feel like it's just very, like, routine. Like, we go in, change his diaper, put him in pajamas. He says goodnight to Julian. I put him to bed. I shut the door. We turn off the light. We turn on the humidifier. Hugs, kisses. I kind of hold him for a little bit. And then I put him down, and I turn on the elephant to play the tune of the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Yesterday, I forgot the elephant part of that whole, like, bedtime routine, and I put him to sleep, and he laid down for a little bit, but then he started, like, calling for me. Like, he was, like, kind of crying, but saying, like, mommy in between, like, his cries. And I went in there, and I was like, oh my God, like, I didn't play your elephant. Like, he threw it, like, in the morning, sometimes I'll, like, take him and, like, throw him on the floor, like, over his crib. So it was on the floor, so I, like, completely forgot. So I picked it up, turned it on, had it start singing, playing, whatever you want to call it. I started holding him a little bit, like, kind of rocking him to make sure he was good. And then I laid him back down, and he was perfectly fine after that. Went straight to bed. And I was like, wow, like, would that little thing affect him going to bed, like a 2-year-old, like the little routine you're setting for him? I forgot one little part, and it, like, threw him all off. And I was like, wow, interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I felt the need to share that. Anyways, hello. Welcome back to another episode. Streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, anywhere you stream your podcasts, or we are here on YouTube, Girls Gotta Talk Podcast. If you search it in the search bar, we will pop up. Join the fam over here, subscribe. If you want to watch, I think Spotify has videos. I feel like I've said it before that I don't know if the Spotify, like this account on Spotify, has video or not. I should probably figure that out. But I do like to put it up on YouTube just in case for that same reason. But we're everywhere. You could find us almost everywhere. I think in the description there's links for, like, the Instagram. I made a Twitter so I could post these episodes even on Twitter. If people still use it. I think it's called, like, X now, but I haven't updated my app or my phone. So, like, on my phone, it's still Twitter right now, which is really weird. But yeah, we're everywhere. You can kind of join the fam everywhere. I like to be everywhere because I like to try to stay. I don't know. Basically, I don't know what anyone uses nowadays, so I just try to, like, to be everywhere just in case people are still using, like, some apps that others aren't, if that makes sense. But anyways, today's episode, I don't know where I got it from. I think I got it from something I saw on Instagram. I just follow, like, a lot of random accounts on Instagram that really give me, like, inspiration for podcast topics. I feel like I say that a lot, is like, oh, I got this idea from this Instagram and this idea from this Instagram and blah, blah, blah. I think I saw something on Instagram. I like to usually write down where I saw it from because, as I say all the time, I like to give credit where credit is due. But I didn't write anything down for this episode, so I don't fully remember where I got this idea from or what I looked at to, like, do something like this. It's kind of just a little list. By little, I mean I have 5 things on this list. The topic was things I wished I learned. Things I wished. Would I say I wished I learned sooner or things I wish I learned sooner? I don't know. You get the point. Things I wish I've learned earlier in life, whether it be like 2 years ago, 10 years ago, a minute ago, just things I wish I kind of like thought about in a different way. Anyways, the first thing I had on the list is let FOMO go. If you're unfamiliar, FOMO is a little shortened version of fear of missing out. I feel like I always had some sense of like FOMO, especially when I'm scrolling through like Instagram, especially when all my friends are like, or like people I grew up with that I'm either like just kind of know or like not friends with anymore. You see all their pictures and you see them either traveling the world or like just doing really well or doing something you wish you could do. And you're always kind of in the back of your mind thinking like, how did they do this? Like, why can't I do this? Why have I never done this? Why can't I live this type of lifestyle? I feel like that's where social media kind of gets to you, and you start comparing yourself to everything you see or anyone you see, either know. I don't know, like you're just scrolling. I was not doing it today, like not comparing, but I kept seeing. I think it's really popular right now. I feel like, I don't know if you guys have seen the same on your Instagram. A lot of people I know are in Italy right now. Between like people I follow and then like social media people I follow are traveling around the world. I see a lot of people are in Italy right now. A lot of people are traveling to South Carolina right now. My parents are actually on the way, if not already in North Carolina right now. Like people are just in like a traveling era at the moment, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of jealous. Like I don't know where I would travel to right now if I actually was like just gonna up and like book a flight right now, but I don't know, like it just seems like the right time. We're getting into our summer mode. You can definitely tell that summer is on the way. I don't actually know when the first day of summer is. I'm gonna kind of look it up, but everyone's just in their travel era right now, and I don't know, like I want to be on that vibe. I've talked about, I really, really, really want to go to Nashville. I really want to go to Tennessee. I've never been to Tennessee before. And from everyone that's either been or like posted pictures of like whenever they went, it just looks really nice and fun and a good time. Sorry, I'm trying to look up. So it's usually around June 20th or 21st. I don't know when the first day it is this year. But anyways, I really just want to be on their level and in their era of traveling. I've seen a lot of people, like I just said, go to South Carolina. They're specifically going to Charleston, South Carolina. And from pictures I've seen and like stories posted, it looks beautiful. It looks like a really summer little weekend getaway type vibe. And I'm kind of here for it. Not going to lie, I have thought about looking it up and trying to see like if it can kind of happen, if I could find someone to like go with me, even if it's for like a little weekend getaway. It just looks really, really nice, and I'm kind of here for it. But yeah, I feel like I've kind of been out of like letting FOMO go. Like I just kind of see it, and then it's kind of like a swipe. Not really like an out of sight, out of mind type of situation, but I don't sit there and get like super, super jealous and insecure type of situation. No, I don't want to say insecure. I don't get like super jealous and like thinking really hard on myself and getting really down on myself because I'm not doing what everyone else seems to be doing with their life. But I feel like FOMO can just get you kind of trapped sometimes in a terrible mindset of thinking that you're not doing something right, or you're not living up to like what, I don't know, like expectations you kind of had for yourself, because you're thinking like, oh, if they can do it, I can do it. or if they're gonna go, I want to go type of thing. But I don't know. It's definitely just not a space to be in. You definitely don't want to get into that little realm of situation. But yeah, I don't know if any of that made sense. But the next thing I have was, if you love it, do it. Don't care what people say or think about it. I wish I 100%, 1,000% wish I learned this sooner in life. I wish that I wasn't so insecure with myself earlier in my life, and when I started watching YouTube and everything on the internet, and thought like it'd be super fun and super like crazy to do, that I talked myself out of it. Because I feel like if I wasn't so like hard on myself, I might have actually started YouTube sooner. That one I don't know for sure if I could 100% say like, oh, I would definitely have started YouTube earlier in my life. I definitely would have started this podcast early in my life. I definitely was super nervous of doing a podcast by myself, so I'm definitely very appreciative of the fact that I had started it with someone else. Because of the fact that, did I know what I was doing? No. I guess I would have had to teach myself, which also is something I guess I wish I learned sooner, is like self-teaching yourself what you love to do or what you're very interested in. Would I have probably looked into how to set everything up? Probably not, which definitely would have stopped me along the tracks of doing this. But luckily, I had started a podcast with someone who was very like techie person, so they knew how to do everything. I was just kind of another behind the scenes, like filming, editing, uploading. Like that was my role in all of this. I could definitely say I've learned a little more, especially with like, if you listen to last week's episode, I had kind of a situation with last week's. I had to like record it through my computer. I'm trying to think of how I did it. I had to record it through my computer audio wise, but record the actual episode, like visual, camera, everything through the actual camera, and like merge the two together. So I had to like match the waveforms and make sure like I was talking on cue with the audio. It was really weird. It was actually not as hard as I thought it was going to be. I'm kind of glad and low-key proud of myself for figuring it out, but it was definitely not what I normally have to do when recording my episodes every week. So it did make it a little more challenging. Would I have known how to do that years ago? Absolutely not. I probably would have junked it. It never would have made its debut. It never would have even considered being put up. Like I would just been like, oh, it's not working, it's done type of situation. But yeah, but anyways, back to this podcast. If I had talked myself into doing this podcast sooner, way sooner, I definitely would have. I kind of want to say YouTube, but I know that's I don't know. I don't know if I 100% would say that I would have started that earlier in life, but I'm very thankful for the push I did have to get into YouTube, because now I love it. There is like another thing I kind of have in the works. I don't know if it's gonna be fully in the works, that I wish is definitely would be another thing that I wish I started sooner, if it does end up happening. But I don't want to say too much about that until I actually go through with it. But the next thing I do have is do things out of your comfort zone. Oh, doing things out of your comfort zone isn't that scary. This is definitely something I wish I learned sooner. If I would have learned this sooner, it would go back to the last bullet I just had, this podcast, YouTube. Even small things like doing things by myself were definitely out of my comfort zone. I've been doing that a lot lately. I don't say a lot. That's a bit dramatic. I've been doing it a few times lately. I think I mentioned it in last week's episode that I had gone to Panera for lunch and sat there by myself. I did that again yesterday, actually, from when I'm recording this. Did that yesterday. I went to lunch at work and just really wanted Panera mac and cheese and a sandwich. It just sounded really good. So that's what I ordered. That's what I went to go get. I sat in the restaurant, ate my lunch by myself. I always thought that was like the scariest thing in the world for some reason, is like being in a restaurant, whether it's like a Panera, a diner, or like an actual restaurant. I know people talk about being at like fancier, I don't want to say fancier, but like bigger restaurants, like that you'd go to dinner probably with your family by themselves. And I feel like that I'm not at that level yet. That still kind of scares me. But the fact that we're making baby steps means we're in like the right direction. Like baby steps are still steps in the right direction. I love saying that. And I feel like that's kind of where I am in life, is we're heading in the right direction of getting out of comfort zone. I am on YouTube, have my own channel on YouTube. I am on the internet in general. Like the fact that it was a reaction channel way back when, crazy. I started on the internet to begin with. Like I'm on the internet, period. I have my own YouTube channel. I now have my own podcast. Yeah, like those two within itself, crazy to me. And those are 1,000% out of my comfort zone. So not everything out of your comfort zone is scary. And I would say, even if it has to be the littlest things that like you could say to someone and they'd be like, oh my God, like you're crazy. Like that's not even a big deal. Even though it's a big deal to you, I would say try it. Try at least one thing out of your comfort zone, even if it has to be like a month. One thing a month, try out of your comfort zone. I promise you, it might be scary at first, but like once you realize, like once you do it, you'll realize it's not as bad as you thought, if that makes sense. That's at least how I feel, and I hope you kind of feel the same way and we can be on the same level with these things. Oh, I just accidentally got out of my list that I had. Okay, the next thing I had was do something even if you think you're bad at it. You don't start anything as a beginner. You learn to better yourself. I recently had just watched a YouTube video. One of my favorite people to watch on YouTube, her name is Atleast. She recently posted a video, and her video she posts like one video a week, and her video was I think I mentioned it last week because I think she posted it last week, that she was going to find or try like new hobbies she's always wanted to try. I think she only did like a couple, but it's things that are on like her bucket list or what she wanted to accomplish this year or something. And she had talked about this and that she always wants to like not be a beginner with things. Like she just wants to know and be like really good at something. And I was kind of thinking about it and I was like, maybe that's kind of how I feel. Like I don't like not knowing either about things or how to do things and just thinking I'm going to jump right into it and be okay. That probably is what stops me and pushes me back from a lot of things. Especially like I just talked about, probably not like self-teaching myself what I want to do or like want to know. So even if you think you're going to be bad at something, just kind of, I don't know, take the leap of faith, I guess, in yourself and just kind of do it. I feel like you don't really know whether or not you like or don't like some things unless you actually like give them a shot, as like you don't do it. You might say you don't like some things, but have you actually tried to do it? Have you actually tried to look into it? Have you actually tried to teach yourself it? I could probably say there's some things I don't like, but have I actually attempted to like know them or do them? Probably not. I definitely have a fear of like, I don't know how to explain it. I probably have a fear of like failure, I guess I would say, which is probably really common within people, but I feel like my fear and failure definitely stops me from doing a lot of things. especially if it's going to be like hobbies or anything I actually really want to do. I feel like if it's something I really want to do or really want to get into and I try it and I fail, it's definitely like just going to stop me right there. I'm not going to take any steps forward or any like action to make myself better at it, if that makes sense. The pushing myself is definitely what stops me from doing a lot of things. But if you think about it, like, you're not automatically good at some things. Like, everyone starts something as a beginner. Like, you start your hobby as a beginner. You start a sport you want to play as a beginner. You start YouTube as a beginner. I started this podcast as a beginner. Like, you start almost everything you do as a beginner. You're not going to jump into something and be super good at it. You're not going to be the best in the world. Like, when you see, you can even go from YouTubers to athletes, like soccer players, to baseball players, to hockey players, to gymnasts, to like figure skaters. Like, they all started as beginners and they worked their way up to where they are now. They learn to better themselves by practicing, by doing it over and over. Like, that's just kind of how you have to think of it. Whoever you kind of idolize or look up to started at the same point that you're going to start as. They didn't just wake up and automatically they're the greatest person in the world. Like, they did this once and mastered it. Some of them honestly might have, but not all of them did. That's kind of, I don't know, like, that's just how life is. Like, I wish I learned sooner that, yes, if I did this 10 years ago, would I have been how I am now? No, probably not. Like, I would have had to self-teach myself. Is it kind of better that I was shown rather than self-taught? I would say yes, because I'm more of like a hands-on type of learner. I like to see it and kind of do it myself. Did I take notes on how to do some of the stuff I do now? Yes, because I like to look back at it and be like, okay, if I get stuck, this is how I do it. I guess that's kind of my way of self-teaching myself, but not fully by myself, if that makes sense. But I wish I learned that, yes, I'm going to make mistakes. Yes, I'm going to fail at some things, maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times. But does that mean I should, like, give up on doing it? Absolutely not. The last thing that I feel like this was like a really quick episode because I didn't have a lot of bullet points in this topic, I guess. There's definitely probably a lot more things that I wish I learned, but off the top of my head, like, these were just kind of the main bullet points that directly came to mind. Oh, this is going to be super random, but I bought those, like, Crystal Light, like, powder things you put in water to make, like, basically flavored water. But what I bought was, like, a peach tea, like, peach iced tea flavor. But I bought, like, the bigger box, which when I first looked at it, I thought it was just going to have more packets, like, kind of like a value, like, something in my eye, almost like a value box or pack or something. But in reality, it was actually, like, bigger packets to make, like, pictures of the flavor of whatever you got. So I put, like, a packet in, like, a not small but not, like, huge thing of water, and because the packet's so big, it just tastes like all powder and it's kind of nasty. And I just took a sip and it's been sitting for a little bit since I've been talking, and it was really gross. But anyways, like I was saying, there's probably more things that I wish I've learned sooner in life, but these were just, like, pretty, I don't want to say basic, but, like, basic things I thought about that I definitely wish I learned sooner in life. But the last thing I have, which I'm still kind of telling myself, I still have to tell myself a lot, is don't take everything personally. I feel like that's very hard to say sometimes, because sometimes people are either showing you signs that you're taking very personally, or telling you things, or saying things to you that you're going to take very personally. Someone's opinion might just be very personal to you, like you might obviously take very personally. I feel like don't take a lot of things personally, because sometimes when people are like saying or trying to come at you for certain things, like it's just because they're trying to make themselves feel better, which is just awful. Like they're gonna try to make themselves feel better, so they're gonna take it out on you or take it out against you, if that makes sense. So just basically everything you hear in life, everything someone tells you in life, every time someone, I don't know, tries to like bring you down about either something you did, something you've done, that's the same thing. Something you've done, something you want to do, something you either are very passionate about or something, they're going to say something negative to bring you down, whether or not it's they're 100% and they don't either like what you're doing or like what you did and they have some type of opinion on it, or they just want to, they're having a rough time, and the way they make themselves feel better about any situation is like getting on someone else. Just don't take a lot of things personally. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Like I said, I'm definitely still telling myself that a lot every day, because I don't know, I feel like sometimes when people are saying something or talking about something, it might be like in the opposite of like what I do. So I'm like, wow, like was that an attack towards me? Like, am I not doing good? Am I not doing a good job? Should I be doing this differently? Like, it's just, it gets in your head. And of course, like a lot of things that get in your head, it makes you like overthink everything and question like what you're doing and if you're doing life right almost. I don't know, that might be a little too deep, but I just don't know like what else to say besides don't take everything personally. I promise you, not everything definitely should be taken personally, but as the sensitive person I am, I do take a lot personally. A lot of goes to heart, a lot goes to mind, a lot goes to feelings. I'm 100%, I'll admit it, very sensitive person. So I'm not saying like watch what you say to me to make me take it a little better, but like no matter what you say or how you say it, I guess, like I do take a lot to heart. I do take a lot personally, and I know I need to stop. And like sometimes like opinions are just opinions. Like everyone's going to have their own opinion about everything. So I need to like not take it to heart because it's just their opinion, if that makes sense. But I don't know. I know I need to definitely tattoo this in my mind because I do it a lot. But anyways, that is all I have for this episode. I know I've just said it like 3 times. There's definitely more that I wish I've learned sooner in life. But I'm glad that I've also pushed myself past these things that I have listed, and I have learned it. Might have taken a lot longer than I've hoped, that I wished, but it still happened. I still learned from these things. I've learned past these things. I've learned to let some of these things go. I've learned to love what I have learned now in life. But thank you guys so much for listening. I love you guys so much. I love you all for all of the support that you guys have shown me. Like I said, my numbers side of me is going to come out. I check these things on the daily. When I tell you, I think I said in last week's episode that I downloaded this app. Actually, I don't know if I said it. If I haven't, the website that I go to upload my episodes that like distribute it onto like platforms you listen to, like Spotify and all that stuff, they have an app for your phone, which I didn't know about. I don't know. It used to be like called one thing and now it's called something else. And like the new thing that it's called, they have an app for. So I don't know if it's new, if I'm just dumb and didn't know about it before, but they have an app for your phone. And I recently downloaded it. So now I don't have to like go on my computer and like look it up, because I have an app for checking like YouTube numbers and everything too. So I have an app for both. So instead of going on my laptop whenever I'm home and like that's the first thing I want to do, I just check my phone every morning, and like honestly a million times throughout the day, and like just seeing the numbers like go up and up, it makes me so happy. So I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for all the support and listening, no matter where you listen. I appreciate you guys so much. And yeah, I love you all, and I'll see you next week back with a brand new episode. Bye.